Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to get into something that's at the very heart of a successful modern pharmacy. And hint, it's not just about what's behind the counter. It's all about how you connect with the person standing right in front of it.
You've heard this one before, right? Sell me this pen. It's that classic line from movies, from job interviews. But what if I told you that the secret to that little challenge is actually the key to unlocking massive success in, you guessed it, your local pharmacy?
You got it. See, in today's world, a pharmacy just can't get by being a simple vending machine for medicine. To really thrive, there has to be a total shift in thinking, away from just, here's your product, and toward really understanding the person, what they need, and what problem they're trying to solve.
So that's what this is all about, moving beyond the counter. It means having a real game plan, a thoughtful approach for every single customer interaction. And it goes way, way beyond just knowing what's in the bottle.
And this right here, this is the absolute heart of it. You're not just selling a product, you are selling a solution. You're a problem solver. And let me tell you, the best problem solvers on the planet, they don't lead with the answer. They always start by deeply understanding the problem first.
Now, I know what you're thinking. That sounds kind of complicated, right? Well, the good news is there's actually a playbook for this. A proven, structured process that can guide you through any interaction, whether it's a simple question or a really complex consultation. Let's walk through it.
Okay, so here it is, a 7-step playbook that's perfect for the pharmacy setting. First up is preparation. You got to know your stuff, your products, your customer's history. Then comes the approach, that all-important first impression. Step 3 is the big one, needs identification, and we're going to dig into that one. Once you get that, you can move on to the presentation, then you're ready for handling objections, closing the sale, and finally, the step that builds relationships, the follow-up. See how it all flows? It keeps the patient right at the center of everything.
Now, of all those steps, there's one that is, without a doubt, the most critical. It is the foundation that everything else is built on. I'm talking about needs identification. Because honestly, if you don't get this part right, the rest of it just doesn't matter. You have to understand before you can advise.
This is where we completely reframe the conversation. Needs identification isn't just asking someone what they want. No, it's more like a diagnostic process. It's all about using smart, strategic questions and, this is just as important, really listening to uncover the real core issue a patient is dealing with.
So, what's the key tool in your diagnostic kit? It all comes down to asking the right kind of questions. You've got your closed-ended questions, which get you simple facts, a yes or a no. But the magic is in the open-ended questions, the why, the how, the tell me about questions. Those are the ones that unlock the real story and give you the details you actually need to help. And here is a fantastic example of a really powerful open-ended question. Just stop and think for a second about what this one question does. It immediately shows you respect their experience, it gives you a quick history of what works for them, and boom, you started a real collaborative conversation, not a transaction. Okay, so you've done the work, you've identified the need, now it's time to talk about a solution. But listen, how you talk about it is absolutely everything. It's not about rattling off a list of specs, it's about communicating true, tangible value. All right, let's look at an example. Say a really high-quality sunscreen. You've got your list of features here. It's waterproof, paraben-free, has SPF 30, it's hypoallergenic. These are the facts. This is the what. And yeah, it's important info, but it doesn't tell the real story, does it? Now this is where the magic happens. We translate those features into benefits. This is the so what for the customer. It's not just waterproof, it's the confidence to go swimming with your kids. It's not just hypoallergenic, it's the peace of mind that helps someone actually use the product like they're supposed to. People don't buy features, they buy benefits. They buy better outcomes. Of course, even when you do everything right, you're going to run into questions and objections, especially about price. It happens, and this is a moment that can either build trust or break it. But there's a really powerful way to handle it. This quote from our source material just nails it. Never negotiate price, negotiate value. The whole strategy here is to reframe the conversation. When someone brings up the cost, your job isn't to start haggling. Your job is to elevate their understanding of the value they're getting. And the technique is actually pretty simple. First, just listen. Acknowledge their concern. Let them know you hear them. I understand it's definitely an investment. Then you pivot right back to the benefits. You remind them of the problem it solves, the value it provides. The key to all of this is your tone.
It has to be supportive and helpful, never ever pushy. So when you start putting all these pieces together, you're understanding needs, communicating real value, handling objections with empathy, you start to do something amazing. You move beyond a single transaction. You actually start building something way more valuable, a relationship.
And you know there's a quick story from our source material that just perfectly illustrates the biggest mistake you can possibly make in any of these interactions. It all goes down in a Rolls-Royce showroom.
So picture this. A customer walks in, asks about a really expensive accessory. The salesperson, well, they take one look at the person and make a snap judgment. They just assume this person can't afford it, so they try to steer them to something cheaper. And right there, the whole process just breaks down.
Assumption. That was the critical error. The lesson here is so simple but so profound. Don't assume. Ever. It just short-circuits this entire process we've been talking about. Remember, the first, most important step is always to ask questions and try to understand. Everything else flows from that.
Because at the end of the day, this isn't about learning some slick one-time sales tactics. It's about adopting a whole philosophy. The real goal isn't just today's transaction. It's earning loyalty for years and years to come. And that loyalty, it's built on a solid foundation of real trust and understanding.
So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. When you look at your own pharmacy, at your own interactions, what are you really doing? Are you just processing transactions? Or are you taking these steps, asking the right questions, and genuinely building trust? Because the answer to that question will define your success.